Shalom, giving all the praises to, excuse me, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Kakodah. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, Gog, Palestine, Babylon the Great, and prophecy. I'm going to give it to you the right way. Excuse me. I went to the chat. I'll come back to this. And I typed in Revelation 28, 20 verse 8. Is it referring to the Russians? So we'll come back to that. Okay, I was watching this. IUIC's house is being tried and the cracks are visible. Ron Dalton. So this is about a month ago. Okay, let me do this. This is put up by GMS Alliance Welt.
Everybody seems to be scared of Ron Dalton. Little old Ron Dalton.
Nobody's scared of Ron Dalton except for Bishop Nate. Bishop Nate. This was a ambush, by the way, by Dinano. He's based in South Africa, and he had Nate on as a guest. And I don't do that shit. I don't be going on guest appearances on other YouTube platforms. And what this guy, Dinano, whatever his name is, he invited Nate on, then he ambushed him with Ron Dalton. So, and I'm pretty sure Bishop Nate is not going to ever go on this guy's show anymore. That's why we don't deal with, Sonetta and different platforms. We have our own platform. What the hell we need to go on another platform for? Oh, we got to get it to more people, to the elect. When we do our thing on our platform, the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to guide the elect to our platform. So anyway, let me listen. Let's listen.
No assembly, no congregation, no church, no synagogue.
And Ron Dalton is just a lost cause. But you know what? You can't get mad at him. He's not an enemy. He's an Israelite. He knows he's an Israelite, but he teaches a total, like he doesn't deal with the 12 tribe sign. He doesn't call on the name of Yahweh and the son Yahweh Shai. His thing is that the land of Canaan is in south of southern part of Africa. So he doesn't believe in the chariots or UFOs. He pretty much says in not too many words, we're crazy for teaching about the UFOs. He's not all that deep. He has a lot of information. He'll go to the Bible, then he'll get some historic fact or archaeological dig or something like that. But he doesn't know how to put the scriptures together.
No school. And I see that Bishop Nathaniel is upset and disturbed. And
yeah, he did. The bishop, he showed his frustration. What did you build? What did you build? Also, if Yahweh Shai, if you had your setup 2,000 years ago, Yahweh Shai came along, you kick Yahweh Shai out. Go, what do you got? You ain't even got a house to go to. John the Baptist, you wouldn't even let him nowhere near you.
How he...
And Bishop Nate is completely lost. He teaches a lot. 95% of what he teaches is what he got. He's regurgitating from what he got at One West. I was one of his main teachers along with the 7. And so that's what he's spewing. but he done made up certain things. Like now, the tribe of Dan, like for example, Trinidadians, like Deacon Malachi will be of the tribe of Dan. So if you run into Deacon Malachi, you ask him what his tribe is. He might slip and say Benjamin. I said, no, wait a minute. I thought you were the tribe of Dan. So, Bishop Nate just tries to come off as deep. And he's looking real stupid now because he done slipped. You got to be on your P's and Q's. And if you slip, I'll be there to lift you up. Inside joke. Anyway, he slipped a couple of times on the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast, where he said the chip. When he was speaking about the Revelation 13, 16. Two occasions he said the chip. A couple years ago he said they might put a chip in there. Why did he say that? If he said it's an embargo, it's this companies keeps changing it, but now he's starting to say a chip, and he just said it recently. He just said it recently on an interview about a week and a half ago with Millie Productions, and I put a response to it. And I showed that, this guy slipped and used a chip. So he's saying it has nothing to do with the chip, but he'll mention that they are going to put a chip. Elon Musk got the chip going, but it ain't talking about, well, why would you even bring it up? You're talking about MOTB, then all of a sudden you say, Santa Claus is really black, but that ain't what it's, where'd you bring that from? Because you slipped. You slipped. And GMS is here to pick you up. Inside joke. Anyway, let's listen to some more. And we are the experts when it comes to prophecy. Just ask chat what we're known for. What's GMS known for? They're known for their strict, how do they say it? Well, strict adherence to the prophetic parts of the Bible. What else did they say? GMS has a puts a heavy emphasis on prophecy. Now look up IUIC. Doesn't say that. It says that they're known for marching down the street.
It seems to be feeling as though I ambushed.
And see, you couldn't tell this guy nothing. Like if this individual was a Nicodemus, Yahushua was talking to him, Yahushua would walk away from this guy. That's why he told Nicodemus, you must be born again, meaning the stuff that you learned, you're going to have to throw all that stuff away, and you're going to have to start like a newborn baby. And that even went over his head. So this guy, until he becomes born again, he'll never get this truth. Now, if he's one of the elect, the Most High will tap him on the pineal gland and wake him up. Because he's totally lost.
On the Nano's channel, and they called the Nano, and they said, why did you allow Ryan Dalton to come on to the live and ask?
Because it's easy. It was an ambush. The Nano don't believe Bishop Nathaniel, but he knows that there's another Israelite individual, this Ron Dalton, which his name is Moses Levy, his Hebrew name.
The bishop questions, how dare Ron Dalton come?
Hey, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah by Hashem HaRachakodash. And double honors to our apostles and elders here, Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So if you don't know, that's Ron Dalton. He's the one that's the author of the book From Hebrews to Negroes. He was the one that I believe made a movie about it, or such and such like that. But he doesn't have 100% truth or understanding of the scriptures, because he said that he said that the chariots of the scriptures are not the angels. He actually thinks when you read the word chariot that it's talking about an actual carriage chariot for like a horse. He don't understand that. So that's when we figured out, okay, so he doesn't have the truth. He just has knowledge, but he doesn't have understanding. He just has knowledge on history to be able to identify that
in other words, he's a lost soul, and he'll never get it if he's not born again. Anyway, so let me do this. I'm gonna be a little all over the place. Oh, he okay. He was going into Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38, and even Bishop Nate, he was speaking about it maybe on another video, and he said this was somewhat recently. He said that I believe he was going into Isaiah 13. This is about maybe a month ago on a Saturday live, and he said that the Medes are the people of Iran. You know, the Medes in Isaiah 13 that will not regard silver and gold is referring to the Russians. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you on the map. But let's go. I'm kind of like all over the place. Let's go to the chat. So I typed in Revelation 20, verse 8. Is it referring to the Russians? Got a good amount of information, as you can see. Revelation 20, verse 8 in the ESV, English Standard Version. And it will come out to deceive, that's the beast, the nations that are at the four corners of the earth. That's talking about Esau. When he was the Romans, he had a great part of the earth, but the Romans knew absolutely nada about the Americas, North, Central, and South America, the Canada, the U.S., and Central and South America. He knew nothing about that, the other side. Matter of fact, there was a big thing about Christopher Columbus saying that there's land. Where were they? They coming out of Spain. The rebirth of the Roman Empire came out of Spain. So that was the west, the uttermost west. I believe he said 750 leagues. There's land, and they didn't believe it. And when you calculate the leagues, I'll probably do that later in the video. What is it? 1,000 miles. I gotta do. But he was right. He was right. His calculations were right according to the movie. What was the name of the movie? 1492 Conquest of Paradise or something like that. There were two movies that they made in 1992 to commemorate Christopher Columbus. And I saw both of them in the theater. Me being an Israelite, me knowing Revelation chapter 20. Read Revelation chapter 20, you have to mention Christopher Columbus. There were two put out. They were months from each other, and I saw both of them, like I said. And I put my scholar cap on. The one that became most prominent was the one starring what's his name? Debo 2. But there was another one. The other one is an Italian actor. He wasn't all that famous, but Marlon Brando was in that one. And who else? I believe Isabella was played by, I forget, was it Sigourney Weaver? Sigourney. And but the main character was Debo. And he made a statement in the movie. He mentioned the book. He's speaking to a priest, and he mentioned that he said, you can get executed for this. You're telling the people that there's another land 750 leagues out west. And he said, he quoted a number of books, and one of the books that he quoted was Ezra's. He quoted the prophet. He said, Ezra's. Now, it didn't say what, he didn't quote what Ezra said, but what he was talking about was the land of Sarif, which goes back to the Hebrew. Was it Sarif translates from the Hebrew, which means another land or another region, which Sarif is kind of the Greekish, Latinish, English way of saying that word. That's in Deuteronomy 29. I went through this before. Anyway, and so let me read this. It says, and I will come, and I'm doing this not for you veterans out there. I'm doing it for you newer people, so you can know how to explain it to people. And will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth. When did that happen? When did this verse right here, this line happen? It happened when Christopher Columbus came to the other side of the world. Which the first map really was maybe a tenth. It was the east coast of America. They didn't know it stretched that far out to the west. They didn't know that America was, we normally say 5,000 miles square. Actually, it's about 4,000 and change square. That's a lot of miles. That's why they first captured the east coast of America. Then as they expanded, they went out further west, and they were fighting Gad and Reuben, and Issachar. And will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth. So when did they deceive the nation? They deceived the nation through Christianity, later through their democratic system, and ultimately through their microchip, which we're in that time now. It says Gog and Magog. So now it says Gog and Magog, but it should say Gog, Magog. Gog is Russia, ancient for Russia, which is one of the sons of Japhet. But they were actually the people of Russia, the founders of Russia. There was one particular guy, but if you want to put a group on it, it was the Scythians, which were Israelites. The founders of matter of fact, you know what? I'll go to that later, because I did it before. The founders of Russia, no man's land, was founded by the Scythians, which were Israelites. So the Israelites founded Russia. So a lot of those Russian guys in the sports and everything, a lot of them Russians, a lot of them are Jake. It's a Gog and Magog. It should be Gog and Magog. Gog, Magog means from Gog, not Gog and Magog. To gather them for battle. And this is talking about now. This is getting ready to happen. All these major nations that possess the modern day weaponry, the missile systems and so forth, the fighter jets, something's gonna happen where all these major military countries, they're gonna come, and U.S. is gonna be a part of it, Russia is gonna be a part of it, Germany, France, everybody that has a modern military. Then you're gonna have Pakistan, India, Iran. They have modern weaponry. That's what Ezekiel chapter 38 is all about. It says their number is like the sand of the sea, because you're going to have many different nations: Germany, France, Great Britain, Russia, United States, India, Pakistan, the Persians, which is the people of Iran, people of Iraq. Anybody that has modern missile capability, modern weaponry, they're going to be down there. This passage is not explicitly referring to Russia. It is talking about Russia. And by the way, Nate says, oh, this is going to happen. We're going to be in the kingdom for 1,000 years. He goes to Revelation 20, verse 4. It speaks about the 1,000-year reign. Then in the 7th, 8th verse, it says after 7th verse, after the 1,000 years, they shall come out and they shall deceive the nation once again. And Nate says, oh, that's talking about 1,000 years into the kingdom, which show you that Nate is not, he doesn't understand the prophecies. He doesn't understand the prophecies. Most of what he teaches, 95% of what he teaches as far as the prophecy is concerned, is what he remembered and he regurgitated from the main school. So a lot of this stuff he just made up. We're not going to be in the kingdom for 1,000 years, and then exactly 1,000 years in, the Gog, he says Gog and Magog is going to attack us, and then he added something to it. He added Isaiah 24, where it said they're going to be in pits. He said that's where they're going to be. What did he say? He said they're going to be. He either said they were going to be hiding in the Caucasus Mountains, or one of the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. I forget what he said. And I'm like, this guy's just making it up as he goes along to come off deep. And none of them guys are deep. They're just master regurgitators. Those guys that are under Nate. This is why he constantly makes videos, counter videos. When we do a video on a chip, he got to make a counter. But he slipped 2 times. He said they may throw a chip in there. Elon Musk has a chip. But it ain't talking about that. So he's going to look like a real jack. He knows. Let me tell you something about Bishop Nate. I know the man. He knows that it's talking about the microchip. Now, either he's embarrassed and he doesn't want to say, you know what is the chip. And if you guys had a backbone, you would say, well, wait a minute, then maybe we should be following GMS. We should be just watching the GMS videos. So it's either that or he took the bag. Either way, he's going to look stupid. It says the ISUBK2, they're going to keep with that. When that chip actually comes, which it can very well may come during the Trump administration, I believe he's going to usher in the chip, and he's going to usher in Armageddon, World War III. And it's a good thing that he's pushing these Israelites out, because you know what? They're going to be back in their countries, and they're not going to get hit with a missile because they're not the elect. So the Most High have shown mercy on them. It says this passage is not explicitly referring to Russians, although some interpretations throughout history have suggested a connection. Right. Some of them, some of these scholars, these biblical scholars, they'll say, oh, this is talking about the Russians, which they're correct. Here's what we know. Biblical context of Gog and Magog. The name Gog and Magog appear originally in Ezekiel 38, chapter 38 and chapter 39, where Gog is described as a prince from the land of Gog. Right, chief prince, like I said, I broke this down before, I'm going to keep throwing it out there. The word Russia is a Hebrew word, 2 Hebrew words, which means chief prince. Russia is chief prince. Even if you say it, chief and prince in Hebrew, it's you're saying Russia. The land of Magog, because Gog is one of the sons of Japhet, in the north. Let me pull up a map. This is considered the west. This is the uttermost west. The uttermost part of earth that's found in the scriptures. And this is the north. This right here is the uttermost north, which is the northeast. Let me come back over here. Where's the word north? Right, north. The name of Gog and Magog appear originally in Ezekiel 38 and 39, where Gog is described as a prince from the land of Magog in the north. Let me do this. This is the north. Sometimes the north refers to the Americas, but this is the uttermost north. And this is also known as the Medes, because the Medes were right. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. Okay, so the land of the Medes is right here. So Isaiah saw the vision. He saw this region, and he looked towards the north. The Medes are the Russians. Now, Nate said the Medes are the people of Iran. The Medes are not the people of Iran. The Medes are Elamites. The Medes would be sons of Japhet at that time, which represents Russia today. So let's come on back. So the north, right? In Revelation 20, Gog and Magog are used symbolically to represent the enemies of the Most High. Nations that oppose the Most High's people at the end of time. Now, in the land of Israel, you're going to have our people there. You're going to have small hats that look like small hats that are actually Israelites. You got a large community of Israelites there. You got certain groups of Israelites that went back to Israel. But what it's really talking about, they're going to invade the land because of when you go back to Ezekiel 38, because it says that they're going to be a guard unto Iran and other nations. So that fulfillment is going to happen when they attack the land of Israel, and at the same time they're going to attack Babylon the Great, which is America. Okay, people at the end time. Geopolitical interpretations. In some interpretations, especially among certain evangelical Christians groups in the 20th and 21st centuries, Magog has been linked with Russia, and they're right on that, partly due to its northern location relative to Israel. Their northern location relative to Israel. Israel is right here. This is Israel. This is the Western Bank. Right? What's north of that? All is here. So the evangelicals are right. But they think the small hats are the people. It says has been linked with Russia partly due to its northern location relative to Israel. This view gained traction during the Cold War when Russia, then the Soviet Union, we're talking about the 80s, 90s, was seen as a major ideological and military enemy. They possess these hypersonic missile system. Scholarly and traditional view, most biblical scholars view Gog and Magog symbolically, not as literal modern nations. Well, they're wrong on that. It's a literal modern nation, which is Russia, formerly the USSR. They represent the final rebellion against the Most High led by Satan. And that's go back to Revelation 20, verse 8. And it's talking about now in our lifetime, in this generation, not 1,000 years from now. The names are used generically here to signify a broad global coalition of evil rather than a specific ethnicity or modern country. Conclusion. No, Revelation 20 verse 8 is not definitively referring to Russia. So they're kind of leaving the door open. Yeah, according to scholars and certain experts, they say it's Russia, and which it is Russia. And that's going to be that final conflict. So there's not going to be any more conflicts when we're in the kingdom. When we're in the kingdom is going to be everlasting. World, it says in Isaiah, world without end. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that. I put in the word Gog, so I'm not going to go into that. Was that Isaiah 45, if I'm not mistaken? Isaiah 45. Oh boy. Yep. But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Everlasting means forever. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. World without end means everlasting. We're never going to be taken down. So why would Nate say, 1,000 years in the kingdom, we're going to be enjoying ourselves, and Gog and Magog is going to gather the nation, they're going to come up against us. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Let me go here and give you some Hebrew. World without end. The word there is Iwalam. Iwalam means everlasting. Eternal. Long duration and antiquity, futurity, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore. Yeah. What's that? Numbers 1. I believe that's I'm not Numbers, Nahum. Nahum 1. What do ye imagine against Yahweh? He will make an utter end to Esau. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. So we're not going to be afflicted anymore. Okay, let me come back over here and I'm going to get ready to end this. Conclusion. No, Revelation 28 is not definitively. They got an open door that it could. The scholars say it, and we don't know, referring to Russians, which is correct. While some modern interpretations make that connection, it is not grounded in the text itself or in mainstream biblical scholarship. Yeah, because the scholars don't know, but scholars don't understand the prophecies. They come short when it comes to the prophecies. So if you ever run into a biblical scholar, go directly into the prophecies. They're going to get lost. The passage uses symbolic language to describe the final rebellion against the Most High, not a specific geopolitical entity like Russia. Well, they don't know. If you're interested, I can show you how various theological traditions interpret this message differently. Let me come over here. Now, this is what I did. Let me come back. Come back again. Okay, so I put in Gog Okay. It says, I'm going to go here. Ezekiel 38, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day, that which is getting ready to happen in our lifetimes, in this generation, that I will give unto Gog, Russia, a place there of graves in Israel. Because remember, they're going to be gathered in the valley of decision. Yahweh Shaphat, Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment. And there I will plead with them. The word plead is Shaphat, which means judge them. The valley of the passengers on the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses, because of the dead bodies rotting in the field of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog. Anybody that's there that's dead, we're gonna have. I'm gonna open this up, and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon Gog. Now I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look up how I'm gonna open this up. Let me go to Hamon Gog first. Hamon Gawag. Hama-1 means multitude, the name to be given to a valley of graves, ravin or glen, now known as the ravin of the passengers, located in the east side of the Dead Sea. Let's come on back. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. Okay, it's not here. Let me try sever. Bear with me for a minute, y'all. Okay, this is what I wanted. You really got to read this from the top. Prophecy against Gog, invaders destroyed. That's the ground troops. Meanwhile, where they're laying there dead and getting buried, Babylon the Great is going to be utterly destroyed, going to be set on fire. 4,000 plus square miles. We normally say 5,000. Okay, it says, right, it says the place of Hamacon, the multitude of Gog. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. Because they're in the Middle East. So they got these bodies got to be buried. Burnt up or buried. So this is ground troops. It's gonna be a ground warfare. What do you call it for you military guys out there? Conventional warfare. Then it's gonna escalate into the missiles. So when you see all them troops gather in the Great Levant, and they put the chip out already, you know they ain't coming back. Joel 2. What is that? Joel 2 and 20. It says in 7 months. It could mean 70 months. It could be 700 months. It says in 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. Now, who's going to do the burying? The other nations. We're going to enslave them, and we're going to make them dig holes, put a flat. We're going to read down. Then I'm going to close. I'm going along. It says, yeah, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be, and that's when they first go into captivity. They're going to buck up against it, and they're going to say, bury the stuff. What are we going to get paid? You ain't going to get paid nothing. What? And then we're going to beat them, kill them, and then they're going to say, we can't fight these people. That's the reason why one nation puts another nation in slavery, because they're militarily stronger than them. So we're going to have that power over them. So we're going to say, do it, or we're going to break you up. We'll break you up, and then we'll have your ass out there working all broken up. And that's what we're going to do. Watch these slave movies, how they treated Jake. We're going to treat him worse than that. And that's going to be for 1,000 years for Esau. And then we're going to burn him up. We're going to get tired of looking at him. Hey, this man, Nero, there's going to be mass riots in this society, bro. For second Ezra 15 and 15. He said they're cutting this. What they say? 16 million people are now not, because they passed the big beautiful bill, which is a good thing. Because it's going to stir up the people, man. A lot of people are going to. I'm going to say it like that, devil. A lot of people are going to die because of his big beautiful deal. The big beautiful bill is beautiful to the super rich. So these people, you see how motherfuckers homeless? There's people with a homeless person is a motherfucker that don't have a job. So why don't you get a job? You know, you got homeless people that have 2 jobs. They with their wife. She got a fucking job. He got 2 jobs, and they still fucking homeless. Yeah, there's something wrong with that. What is that? Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Who's bearing rule? The wicked. How do we know that? Because the people are living in poverty. It says, yeah, all the people of the land. So this is a countdown to the destruction, and it has to happen during the time of Nero's reign. Yeah, all the people of the land shall bury them, the ones that we put in slavery, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith Yahweh the Most High. And we're going to have spiritual power. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth. And that's in the Levant. Look up the word Levant. To cleanse it, because the land's going to have to be, that's our land. It's got to be cleansed. After the end of 7 months shall they search. In other words, until they find every dead body and they bury it. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bones, so that's fully decomposed. When you see bones, that means that dead body been out there for a while. Then shall he set up a sign or a signet or like a flag by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog, or multitude of Gog. Remember, this war is going to be a ground war, conventional war, where they're going to be shooting each other, like the war in Ukraine against Russia. Then it's going to escalate into they're going to use the missiles. 16th verse. And also the name of the city shall be called Hamunah, thus shall they cleanse the land. And the Son of Man saith, thus saith Yahweh, speak unto every feathered fowl And to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come gather yourself on every side to my sacrifice, That's in Isaiah 34. This is going to be a sacrifice. Like I said, America is the altar. That I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice. So when the Most High sets Babylon on fire, that's going to be a sacrifice. That's why he compared the Idumeans to sacrificial animals. So it's going to be a religious experience. This is going to change your religious belief, inside joke, upon the mountains of Israel, because it's going to be dead in that land, the Levant, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. No, we're not going to eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs. Like the Passover, you kill the lamb, you roast it, then you eat it. What we're going to do to the nations, we're going to destroy them, and then we're going to put the rest of them in captivity. And of goats, of bullocks, all of them, fatling of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full. Now the Lord says you're not supposed to eat the fat. And drink blood till ye be drunken. And my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you, right at this point, just go right to Isaiah chapter 34. He compares the destruction of the Edomites to a sacrifice, a religious experience. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men and with all men of war, saith the Most High. Right, we're going to be the mighty men in the kingdom. We're going to have spiritual power. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them, because the whole world is going to see this thing. When Babylon is destroyed by fire, when it's set on fire, that's going to be breaking news around the whole planet. Revelation 18. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh. Right, when we're in the kingdom, they're the Most High. They're the Most High from the day and forward. Meaning what? From the day and forward, or that day and forward, is talking about forever, forever, forever. What did Andre 3000 say? Forever, 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 ever, forever, forever. So how in the hell is God going to gather up forces and come up against us? The scriptures say we're going to destroy, the weapons are going to be destroyed, burnt. I believe that's also in this chapter here. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, so it's right here 2 times. Okay, what did I do here? Okay, I'm coming back up. Behold, it shall come to pass, and it is done, saith the Lord Yahweh, the Most High. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel or the Levant shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields. Right, all the weapons are going to be destroyed. So Gog is not going to hide no weapons on us. Then it goes in Israel being restored. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. I hope y'all learned something. Stop listening to these knuckleheads that think they know, that think they're prophets and are not. That, on to the next shalom.